Hello, y'all. My name is Timeless Trail, and I am the owner of Rejuv Nation, which is an entertainment network and lifestyle brand focused on the creativity, community, and the culture.
I'm JB, and at @up_JB, and I am the owner of #DoMode and #DoMode.com, where you can go on there and get your positivity, your motivation. It's a place where we got articles and videos where we basically give light to all the motivated stuff that's out there, and it's a digital networking platform for introverts. So if you find yourself being an introvert where you don't like to go out to big networking events, you can go on #DoMode.com. You can get linked up with people that are in your field that do what you say you want to do, and you can watch them from afar. And then if you feel so inclined, you can get connected with them and maybe meet them on a one-on-one basis. And so I do these small little networking events called DoMode Collectors, mainly for introverts, but they're not only for introverts. Some of you have been to them. Yeah, I'm here, big Nipsey fan. A lot of stuff that I do is because of Nipsey Hussle. And so I feel like that's the whole reason why we are here, to celebrate the man's life.
All right, so my man JB did some real spectacular, and he printed us off some notes to go off of, and I think this was very ideal because we were going a tangent forever. For the purpose of the meeting, we want to speak about Nipsey and what he meant to us as individuals. So I guess, JB, the question I have for you is, what did Nipsey mean to you as an individual?
Well, Nipsey was he planted the seed of get it yourself. For so long, I was brought up to go the safe route, go to school, get a good job and work 40 years and end up just retiring with a pension and call it a career. But I had an inkling inside of me that I wanted to do more than just work for somebody for 40 years. I wanted to do more. And once I got connected with Nipsey's music, I got connected with Nipsey music in 2011. I felt like this is someone that's speaking to my spirit, someone that's speaking to all the things that I want to do, I just don't know how to do. And he was laying out the blueprint in his rhymes even in 2011 and earlier. So I feel like Nipsey was someone that planted the seed that allowed for me to think bigger. And ultimately led me to where I'm at now, where I have #DoMode, my own business, and I have a podcast, and I'm in grad school at Yale, and just figuring out all these ways to diversify my portfolio and get these multiple streams of income and be able to, not only just take care of myself, but the people around me. So Nipsey was the one that put that idea into the brain, and now here I am. How about yourself?
God damn, I don't know how to follow that up, man. Jeez. I should have went first. I mean, for me, I think Nipsey just represented like a role model for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always loved like that type of fashionable person. Someone who like never was like a pushover, but someone who understood like they didn't have to always assert their strength or their power. They knew how to talk, but they also knew like you had taught them a form of respect. I grew up around people like that, so like ultimately I just automatically gravitated towards him. I did post something the other day that I started listening to him in 2011, but I did start listening to him in 2008 because I was living in California at the time, so I got to see like him from the start and like how like California started to embrace him. So like just the mindset that I have and the respect that I have for people who Nipsey like fashion, I automatically just started to listen to his lyrics. And his lyrics was talking some shit I liked, and then he started talking about investing and stuff like that. And then around that time, I started thinking about creating the business. So it was just like, I don't know, like I guess God in some way, somehow talking to me in a whole different type of parameters.
Having someone that's in that sphere was able to reach the masses and get connected with us who are miles away from California. I think that shows the power of someone like Nipsey. Anybody else?
What do you think made him so like powerful in a sense?
I think he was authentic. Okay. Someone who was super authentic and genuine. You got Nipsey, every time the camera was on, you got the same version of Nipsey because it was just that's who he was. He was someone that spoke to entrepreneurship, independence, and just grinding. And he spoke in such a way that allowed you to I feel like you resonate. Like, this is someone that I could that I know that's in my hood. You know what I mean? Not somebody that seems untouchable. Jay-Z and Diddy, though they're a older generation, they kind of seem untouchable at the moment. And Nipsey seemed like someone that, you know, that could walk into this room right now and you feel like you can connect with and have a conversation with, and he would treat people as such. So I feel like was a major power that he had, that he was able to talk to you in such a plain way and be able to resonate with you. And so he was super relatable, in my opinion.
All right, so I had a debate with somebody about Nipsey, and I was like, I don't know. I'm starting to feel like crazy. Like someone say something crazy about Nipsey, I bring smack him in the face, like shut the fuck up type shit. Like, and I'm like, bro, I don't even know this man, but I'm just like, but don't be talking about my nigga like that.
Yeah.
But
you feel like he's your homeboy.
Yeah. So, but I was having a debate with somebody, and someone had the nerve to say the reason why he got killed is because he was touchable, like he was accessible, like. And I'm like, how stupid do you sound? Like, that's what made him authentic. That's what made him the influence that he is now. Like, I don't, it's hard for me to comprehend that people could think like that, but I'm trying to, maybe you could give me a perspective as to why.
People just trying to rationalize. I feel like we're in a time right now that is so new that people still don't know how to put it into words. And I just feel like people are throwing stuff at the wall. They're trying to figure out, like, why would something senseless like this happen? So everyone's coming out their woodworks with their theory. And you're going to get those people who just feel like, you know what, he was too touchable. That's what got him in this position, not knowing that he got security, he got, you know, the protection of the hood. It's just, there's just one instance, it's like the Achilles heel, man. There's one instance for which he, you know, was vulnerable, and unfortunately that was his demise. But I don't think he was too touchable. I think he was moving smart. We can't sit here and act like he was, you know, neglecting his life. He was just doing what he always did, which is engaging with the fans, engaging with the community, and then somebody took that time to.
Do you think it's a good idea to try to give back to your community? And if so, in what way and fashion?
For sure. I mean, I think it's the same way that he grew is the same way that he was sustaining. So I feel like it would have been, we wouldn't call him as authentic if he blew up because of the community and then turned into someone who never went back. You know what I mean? So I feel like he was just sticking with what worked. So why not?
The time when Nipsey Hussle came out on the game, that game was kind of in a weird space, like 2008, 9. Like there really wasn't a predominant rapper. Drake was still on the come up, so there were a lot of rappers popping up. So initially, I put Nipsey in that kind of category of, you know, okay, there's so much other good music I want to listen to. I'll put this guy to the back. So the way I got hip to Nipsey to listen to his music was listening to him talk. So on YouTube one night, going down the rabbit hole, see a young Nipsey Hussle talking his talk, and he's talking about investments. He's talking about real estate. He's talking about self-ownership and entrepreneurship. And I'm like, okay, all right, that's different. Time goes on. Then I listened to Blue Laces 1.
That's fire.
Soon I heard that. That's when I was just like, okay, no. He's on something different. He's on a different type of time. And then I started digging into his catalog. Slauson Boy 2 definitely was a killer for me.
Yeah, Slauson Boy was fire.
Was fire. Yeah. Slept on. Nobody really talked about it as much as I expected them to talk about it.
I guess it has to depend, because my group of friends talk about Slauson Boys all the time. That shit is really a gem. Like,
yeah.
Yo, man, we didn't have enough conversation about that. Yo.
No, my group of friends is really East Coast heavy in terms of when it came to music. So it wasn't like they was throwing Nipsey on. I had Nipsey, and somebody put me on when I was in college. So they was just like, yo, here, you should listen to this. And that's back when CDs was the wave. I put it in the back seat and never really listened to it.
Nigga, me and my best friend used to be in our dorms playing Call of Duty till 3 o'clock in the morning and playing Nipsey all night.
Nipsey.
Real talk, like on some shit.
That's motivational.
That was like 2000. Like, I'm catching body. I'm going like 60 and 2. Like, I'm wilding. Like, you can't even fuck with me. Type shit. I'm like, shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. But
anybody else got a Nipsey story?
Well, I don't know if I got a direct story, but I got onto Nipsey, I want to say like a little later, like maybe like more like 2012, okay, somewhere around there. When did Crenshaw come out?
2013.
So like I started messing with Nipsey probably like the project before that. But at that time too, I was in the process of starting my business, and Hov is my favorite rapper. So I was always kind of like on that wave. And then the same thing, I think Face the World was like one of the first records that I was like, damn, like I had it just like playing over and over and over again. And then I kind of went back and got caught up. But yeah, same thing, like I was starting my business, I was kind of on that same mindset. So what he was saying kind of just like, it just went, it was like one of the things that I could play him in the morning and just like let it ride to start my day and kind of like, all right, cool. And that was like kind of how I built my like bond or whatever with Nipsey. But I think a lot of same thing, like I was always into East Coast shit. I think when he went to Cinematic was kind of like when a lot of people on the East Coast started like, oh damn, okay, he could rap. Like when he started, you know, being with Dizza and Shite and all them, like that's kind of like what, you know, I think brought him over here a little more, which was a smart move.
Right.
Got Eddie Rosado in the building. Eddie, you talk about how you got put on to Nipsey. We talking about Nipsey's story.
JB right here. I met JB like 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And we both have like entrepreneur spirits. I'm gonna sit over in the front, can't see what I'm doing. And I remember I'm a big Jay-Z fan, and he brought it up, and he was like, "Yo, Jay bought 100, right? 100 copies of Nipsey's." I was like, "Word!" And he was like, "Yo, hey, you gonna like this?" It was like 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And it was funny because I'm a big Jay-Z and J. Cole fan, and those are like my two dudes. Just
you look like a J. Cole fan.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing, because I hear a lot of people talk about J. Cole fans. Nah, but so JB put me on, and I fell in love with Nipsey. But that independent, that's why I like Jay-Z and J. Cole. They're both independent. They're both rocking their own brands, and I don't know. It was different. It was different for me. Nipsey was a different soul.
I really want to go into like favorite songs, like with favorite like so many. Like for me, I got like a little leeway in my shit, and then you could
go ahead, do yours.
I don't like I was like blessed enough to be there when in California when Hustle on the House dropped. When Hustle on the House dropped, that shit was insane. And then from there, like Day Roll with him and The Game, that was my shit. Like, and then after like Bus Ain't Got No Names, Volume 2, like
sound like you like all the songs, my nigga. You don't got no favorite song, no favorite bar, no favorite.
I think I would have to say Ocean Views might be my favorite.
Ocean Views.
Hold up, wait, hold on. The Blue Laces 2 is crazy. Blue Laces 2 is crazy. But like Ocean Views, like once I heard like the melody and shit, that shit just touched my soul. Like in the way, hold up. This nigga Nipsey is the only nigga that I know can spit so gangster on some like real like.
Yeah, that's the gift you had. You could hit you with real street shit, but then you be like,
you ain't never gonna get no one
I could
of
take
those,
that
man.
shit and go to class with that shit. You know what I mean? I could bring that shit up. And I think that's a gift, man. That's not something that could be taught. That's something that people kind of are born with. I'm over here trying to figure my way through all this stuff, trying to do the same thing and give people at Yale some of this street flavor. Like, we got people from inner city that are smart, but they don't lose themselves. And so I walk in class looking like how I look, talk how I talk, but that's because I've seen someone like Nipsey, like J. Cole, like Jay-Z be able to do it at a high level and inspire me to do it at my level. But one of my favorite songs is Rose Clico. That's off. I was just playing that on the way here. I know everybody was probably playing some Nipsey on the way here, trying to get in that zone. I've been playing Nipsey nonstop.
I can't play nothing else. It's very hard for me to play.
I listen to Nipsey almost every day, and I don't see that stopping. I explained to my mom's like, so why are you so infatuated with something? I'm like, if someone's in your speakers every day, that's something that you don't get, like you won't get used to that person being gone.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you that's not even like a devil's advocate, but a real question. Like, are you more like sad about the fact that he's gone and there's like you won't be able to see what he could have fully like accomplished, or are you more sad because like you're just mourning as a like a?
I mean, I'm more sad because he ain't never realized his full potential. And
what do you mean by that?
He won't have the opportunity to realize his full potential because he had so much in the bag that he still had to get out there. I mean, I think we just talked about when we got put on the hustle, right? So 8, 9, 10 years ago for some people. And you saw the struggle, you witnessed the journey. And last year was this first studio album, Victory Lap.
Right.
And it just so happened to be a classic album. In my opinion, that's a classic album, and it should have won the album of the year. But he unfortunately, took a while to get to this space. And he just was about to start, things was about to start clicking for him. People were starting to know him on a national level, not just underground. He was becoming international Nip. He was doing deals and all these things and just starting to get the notoriety I think he needed to get in order to make him ascend to that next level. And it just got cut short. And I was going down the rabbit hole not too long ago, just looking at his videos again, because I've seen all the YouTube videos, all his interviews, all his stuff, because it's inspiration for me. And I'm like, and another part is selfishly, I'm sad because I won't ever get to cross paths with someone like that, or at least not in this lifetime. And you feel like that's somebody that, like, I just tweeted not too long ago, like, I feel like someone like Nipsey Hussle is on a similar wavelength as me, and I feel like I get connected with people who are on a similar wavelength sooner or later. Right. And I felt like it was inevitable we were going to cross some paths, and we still may. It's just not going to be, like I said, in this life. But so selfishly, I feel like that gets snatched away too.
I have a side note though. I know he got a stash though. That's the good news.
Yeah,
he definitely got a Tupac stash just sitting in his studio, probably a couple albums worth of material.
Everywhere.
I would think.
Yo, it'd be like, for me though, I'm really grateful. Like, I was able to see it and see what he became and like what he meant to so much people. But it's like a love-hate thing right now listening to his music for me, because I'll be driving, I'm like, yo, this shit is fucking, and I'll be like, damn, but he's never gonna do another one, and then that shit just stops, and I'm like, fuck. And then I was listening to Racks in the Middle on the way up here.
That's the single of something new, right?
Racks in the Middle. So I'm like, Racks in the Middle. I'm like, yo, this shit hard. Like,
just show you he was about to smack niggas in the head.
But now it's like, there's just, the energy is so off right now. The music's, that song, as good as it is, I don't think it's gonna go down as a great, because it came at such a really bad time. Like,
I don't think people have a chance to even enjoy it right now. Right. And this week, listening to Nipsey. Well, first, to answer your first question, favorite song, like this week right now, I just can't stop listening to Double Up. And even just watching that video again and just looking at the quality and where his mind was at, all independently. But it's sad, man. It's sad, man. And to piggyback off what you were saying, JB, like on this journey we're all on in life, you run into certain people where you guys look at the world the same.
Right.
And for you to see somebody, a celebrity that you've never met before, and somehow, some way, that you're looking at the world the same, it creates like a deep bond.
Yeah.
And when you lose that, you feel like, damn, not only did we lose an artist, but we lost the soldier. Like, we lost somebody who looks at the world, the same mission that I'm on, this person is on, and he has a bigger platform influencing it.
Right.
We lost one of those. Like, what are we going to do now, right?
With that being said, as far as how you feel about Nipsey's death, like, are you mourning it just to be mourning it, or are you mourning it because you'll never hear anything again? Yeah. I was reading a lot of these think pieces about Nipsey's death and stuff like that, and how Nipsey just affected a culture and like a huge change in us. And it wasn't necessarily just about his music. It was more so about him as a person. Mm-hmm. And it's really about how you view yourself with Nipsey and his death. Same thing with Pac. Like, our own mortality was realized because he was like right there for us. So it's like, dag, am I gonna get to accomplish this? Because Nipsey was somebody who opened up the shop. Like, everybody wants to give their mother a plane, give their mother that house and do everything. He put his grandmother on that jet, and he bought back that community real quick. So it's like, that's like the original dream for all of us. Like, when we want to make it, you want to come back and you want to do it. Like, I'm from Bridgeport. So it's like, I want Bridgeport to be on. So like, that's how everybody feels about it. And Nipsey did it. And now that he's gone, it's just like, you feel that way about yourself if you're on the same wave as him, if you have that same mind. So it's deeper than just mourning Nip. It's like you mourning that that other person who
There's
made
a piece of you that's lost a little bit,
Yeah,
and you
he
also
died.
to piggyback off of that thought is that it's Nipsey was putting out a certain kind of energy that people say, all the good books say, that kind of energy doesn't warrant in this kind of demise. So it's just like we see all these other people putting out this negative energy, and for one reason or another, they are dodging bullets, literally and figuratively. But someone like him who's putting out all this positive energy, it just don't seem like it's right that something like this will get cut short. And I don't know if anybody in here is religious, but if you are, then one would say that, you know, he was here for a reason and he's fulfilled that reason. But you know, in reality, you're sitting here like, yo,
I don't want to hear that.
I don't get to enjoy somebody who was here as thoroughly as I wanted to. And, you know, that goes to show you what you should do on a day-to-day basis, even with people around you. But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But,
right. I mean, that shit it just really feels like I'm selfish. I feel like I got robbed. Like, I'm like, damn, like, bro, like, you was it. Like, you're it. Like, you the one. You feel me? Like, you're really doing this shit for real.
Yeah.
And you got mad niggas like, yo.
And he's doing it the way that you would do it.
Right.
You were able to
like,
do
he
it.
doing it. He doing it with style and grace. Like, he really
on the jet
bruh.
and stunting like that. Like, that's real life stunting. And just, you know, I'm real big into, you know, your subconscious and civilization and what you see and what you put out into the world. And just imagine being a young kid and seeing that, you know, for the first time, you know, instead of seeing, you know, somebody throwing money in the club or somebody, you know, on a yacht or on a, you know, fast cars. Like, that's what you see. That's the impression that's on your mind. So,
you know what? You know, but you know what's crazy? I think it's so crazy. I'm sorry. Like, I feel like when his children get older, like, the memories that all the people around are gonna share about him to them, but how are they gonna feel? Like, feel me? Like, y'all talking so highly about my father, and I mean, besides his daughter, but his son is 3. I never met this man, but he's such a legend. Like, what do you tell them? Like, how do you? And I'm not trying to get too crazy with it, but it's just like as a man, like, how do you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a real side to this too. We feel how we feel from miles away, and we've never even met the man. But then he has a whole family. He has a wife. Apparently, they were married. You know, in the summertime or something like that, I heard. And if they wasn't, then that's my fault. But yeah, there's people that are closer to him, that met him, that dealt with him on a day-to-day, that feel even more wild than we feel. And that just goes, that's a testament to what kind of person someone is that you got people that don't even know you speaking your praises. We doing this because we are connected in that way. So
I just want to provide like an outlet. Like, this could really drive someone crazy. Like, you remember like when Pocket Big died, I was pretty young, so like I should see my cousins and like, oh shit, like I'm like y'all wilding. Like, it's Pocket Big.
Was different in a sense.
No,
Pac had a dichotomy about him that was really extreme. Like, he was radical on one side, and then he'll do some soft poetry on the other side. And I feel like Nipsey was more inclined on the wavelength. Like I said, I resonate with Nipsey because he moved the way I would move if I was in the same place. And I'm not like Pac in the same, like, in the vein that I don't go wild and I'm not on the extremes. I'm more in the middle, and I stay there. And I felt like Nipsey was in the middle and he stood there.
Nah, but what I'm not saying it as far as like understanding. I'm saying it as far as like just being too young to understand them in general. Like, I'm a youngin', so my type of music is not that. So I'm growing up on some whole other shit. Like, DMX was and Styles P. Like, I was listening to them, and them niggas was guys not, feel me? But I understand. But I was like, y'all wildin'. Like, they're they're just artists, like, whatever.
Not the same way your little cousin now was probably looking at you like,
bro,
yo, what y'all bugging
son,
about, you know?
Yeah.
And then this happens, and I could it's like I could recall the night. It was crazy, like, and I'm just like, fuck, I get it. And that shit really could fuck with somebody, like, if they're not, like, if they're really about, like, the community, somebody like that's really someone's idol, that really fucks with someone's mental. Like, how do we help this? Like, what do we do? Like, not some crying for help shit, but like, how do we help our community?
I got a question though.
Okay.
You think for what happened, do you think it's gonna cause people to go harder and follow what he did, or do you think it's gonna deter people from going back to the hood?
That's gonna be our last piece.
Oh.
It's good. I think right now we're talking about legacy. We're talking about who he is and what he meant to the culture. And I think that if there's any one thing that's lasting in terms of Nipsey, it was something that he preached was entrepreneurship and independence and ownership, all wrapped up in one. I think that this generation is very...
being a family man too. I think that was another thing. All the girls related obviously too, because he was, appeared to be being faithful to his woman.
Oh, for sure.
Taking care of his kid. That was another thing, big part of it.
I tend not to go down that road because I don't know what that is doing.
Yo, he's literally doing everything I would do if you attain that success. Like, I'm gonna go get Laura London. Like that's what I'm gonna do. And it's crazy, yo.
I feel like the things that I do know or that I can see, like the tangible things, like the entrepreneur, like the businesses. He was in cryptocurrency. Like, what rappers in cryptocurrency? And I'm talking in a real way, not just like blindly investing. He had real estate. He just bought some more commercial real estate. He had STEM programs for people out in LA, which is going to be the new wave. And if you have kids, get your kids into STEM because that's going to be the way to get their jobs later on in life. He had the store, and the store wasn't the normal store. He had digital currency. He had content tied to pieces of merch. So you buy a shirt and then you can put your phone up to it and get an exclusive piece of content. He came up with the $100 mixtape, like all of these forward-thinking things that he was doing, and where people thought he was wild, but nah, he was just highly educated, and he took a chance on himself. He provided value out there, so it didn't seem so crazy to him. And he turned down deals with major labels. He was going to rock with Rick Ross, and he turned that down because he wanted to have his team embracing in a certain way. It's just all these things, again, that you wish you could do if given the opportunity, and he was just moving through it. And on top of that, he spoke in a real regular way. So it never was over your head. It was just like, yo, this is what I did and just how I did it. And you like, I could follow that. You know what I mean? So that's my opinion on his legacy. If any of y'all got any other opinions on legacy, but those are the things that resonate with me.
I know one thing I learned from a couple people that was like, knew him, was like, that I don't do enough, is like, he had his whole shit like planned out, like every quarter or 6 months, exactly what he was gonna do, like, and it would just be a revolving schedule that was, so he always knew, a few months or whatever out, like exactly kind of what his, plan was gonna be. So that was something that I kind of like.
His team was
like,
crazy.
I got to do better at that.
His team was crazy. He had Karen Civil on his squad. His rollout for Victory Lap was crazy. You know what I mean? Like, the shit that he was doing was next level stuff. And that's the other part. That's another reason why I feel sad, because I can't even fathom what was coming next with the next rollout or the next piece of merch or the next piece of content. Like, those things where I was looking to that, you know what, let me take that piece, I could do that in my own hood. People don't even know that's Nipsey shit, but I'm going to flip it to DoMode shit. And, but those are the types of things that Nipsey was able to do, set the blueprint and kind of be a forward thinker, someone you could look to.
So I told myself I wasn't going to talk. He dragged me here.
Oh, you here? Talk.
That's my lady, y'all.
But what I was going to say, so shout out to you. He was able to put me on about like 2 years ago, I think. I'm more of like a R&B type love song kind of girl. But I definitely feel like Nipsey was able to influence people by like looking into knowing that you have street knowledge, but knowing that you can flip it into generational wealth, right?
Right.
So like you can be in the hood, you can be in the streets, but there's other ways that you can flip that and turn it into positive ways to create money and not always focusing on the negatives.
Word.
So like when he went to jail, just looking into things that he was into, when he went to jail, he was able to figure out that, I don't think a lot of people know that he has like a hair store. So like in jail, he learned that, you can make more money. You can make the same amount of money as you would being in the streets if you just like use that knowledge, use that street knowledge to like have a hair store and flip it that way to kind of create, the money in your generational wealth and things of that nature. And I think also, since you touched upon it, like the whole like him being in a relationship and like really focusing on that piece, that's one thing that did also cause me to be a fan of him, because it's awesome how like he really like cherishes his relationship with Lauren, and he kind of like was able to use her creative inspiration and kind of input it into things that he was doing. Like, I think in one of his interviews, he had mentioned how she was like the correct creative inspiration behind a lot of the things that he did, and the creative inspiration behind an album that he put out. So that's kind of like the reasons why
when you have a dope chick, that's a cheat code, and he found himself a dope chick. The thing about Nipsey that you touched on is that I think that he made it all right to be educated. You know what I mean? He made it all right to be, you could be gangster, educated. He read a lot of books. He used to do book swaps. He was doing book swaps. You know what I mean? Like, it made it cool. You could be educated and still lit. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of thing that I'm hoping that we place more value on as a community, is just that you don't have to be this quote unquote like gangster in order to be lit. Like, you could be like, that's not even cool no more. You know what I mean? Like, we're playing the dudes who don't know anything anymore. Like, if all you do is sit in the street, you a bum. But if you take what you learn in the streets and apply that to real life business, you could turn that into generational wealth, and nothing more doper than putting yourself on and then putting your people on. And I feel like if we place value in that, that would be a way for us to ascend, you know, past some of the levels of poverty that we've been struggling with as a people.
I think Nipsey saw the Matrix, like he saw the glitch in it, and that's why he was able to maneuver the way he did. He talked about how he wasn't going to portray like ultimate poise. Like, that's probably one of my favorite clips that has come up while, you know, after his passing, like all these interviews. And it's important not to assimilate. And I think that's the cool thing about Nip, that he was able, you talked about it like in so many different ways, but like not trying to speak like the other person or look like the other person, and making sure that he did do this for his hometown and like exactly where he grew up. It's important to show everyone that you can make it.
Because it shows an example for people. What I'm trying to do, one of my missions, being at Yale and being in the Yale community, is I go like this so they can see what a person like this is able to produce. And in that way, it will subconsciously change their opinion on people who look like this from now on. So if they see somebody who look like this in the streets, they no longer go with the typical stereotypes that this person is X, Y, and Z. But instead, they may liken it to knowing me or seeing my work and be like, well, that person, he did it this way. This person is able to do it that way too, possibly. And I feel like Nipsey was leveling up that way. I feel like people in the industry are doing that too. They're letting you know that you could be you authentically and still produce at a high level. You know what I mean? You don't have to look a certain way. You don't have to talk a certain way. There's no one way to be. And for a while, our parents' generation, my grandparents' generation, they slick back hair, clean cut, all that stuff, which is not bad. You can still be that way if that's you. Be who you are. But if you want to wear a hoodie or you want to wear some Jordans or whatever like that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have to live a certain life. That could mean that you just like that stuff. And in turn, I like to read. And I can articulate my thoughts or my feelings and all that stuff. And I think Nipsey was highlighting those things. It was just like, yo, this is what I do. Take it. And then I'm going to go rap about some gangster shit. I'm going to go smoke weed, and I'm going to go get my hair braided. I'm going to go get these tattoos. And I'm going to be able to show you business savvy. I'm going to be able to show you how to level up your family, your life, everybody around you. And that's the shit that I like.
Okay, so I just want to get to the part of, like, what do we do next?
Yeah.
Is that okay if I start opening that up?
Yeah, we're here now. That's
all right,
exactly
cool. So I want to talk about what do we do next, right? So, like, I think for people who I feel like this is going to bother them for a long time, they should use it as a form of inspiration to keep the torch going. I have some ideas that I've been jotting down and going back and forth with, and I think I found my core like 2 or 3 that I want to do. But what do we do as a community? Like, how do we keep his name alive? How do we keep this thing going?
I don't think we're ever going to be we don't have to be on one single accord.
Right.
If you feel like you want to write this way and I feel like I want to sing it that way,
right.
I feel like the idea that we as a people or we as a culture have to move one way is always going to be wrong, because we're a multifaceted people and a crazy culture. We are pop culture, just being hip-hop culture alone.
Yeah.
And it's really important for us to use the idea that Nipsey just like left behind the marathon, and his whole philosophy and phrases that he uses so intentionally are so encouraging for us to continue to keep going and pursue every dream that we do have and that we can do it. Right. So I feel like if we just take that for ourselves and make sure that we do it without fear, that'll be the best way to carry on his legacy. Like, don't stop. He said the only difference between him and everyone else, dedication, not stopping. Like, that's huge. That's huge. He was like, I'm not the one. Like, I'm not. He was so divine and didn't even know it. But how dope is that?
Yeah. So I guess I'm going to direct it to you because you had the first response. What is something that you feel like you'll do to keep it? Like, what do you do now, or like, what would you? I'm pretty sure everyone in here does something, or is inspired some way, or they help the community in some form or fashion. So, what is your thing?
I'm very focused on Black people, but just people in general, and hip hop culture. I talked to JB at his last event. I went to his DoMode event, which was super dope.
Okay.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I met a bunch of dope people. And I think those type of spaces are good for me. And I want to make sure that I create spaces similar. So that's what's good for me, and that's what's going to work. And as far as me not being, I'm trying to be fearless with my stuff, because I've been like, I don't want to put it out, somebody's gonna steal it, kind of thing. And I think that Nipsey saying what he said and the way he said it, in the manner of him saying it and saying that you're good enough, like he was good enough, like where he came from. And to be honest, like coming from Connecticut and being from Bridgeport, the way he was talking about it, I think I even had like a step up. So why am I scared? Nipsey made it out the mud. Like he really made it out the mud.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, inspiration. If you're an entrepreneur, you got to be a Nipsey Hussle fan. I mean, I have my own real estate business. I'm a realtor.
Shout out to you. Drop the bomb so people can follow. What's up?
Yeah, definitely. At Let's All Win JR on the IG, or letsallwinct.com. You can go on there and evaluate your house or get your credit ran and see if you qualify for a loan to buy a house. So getting into real estate, getting that real estate bug early, and listening to Nipsey Hussle speak about that definitely resonated with me. But in my day-to-day business, my whole concept and my whole brand is Let's All Win. And the way I want to help people win is through real estate. So to be able to turn like young Black people into landlords, like last year, I think I turned 6 minority people into landlords, everybody under 35, first-time landlords, from people I used to work with from my previous corporate job to just strangers, people that did reaching out through Instagram. And I know what Nipsey Hussle was trying to do was inspire people just like that, right? Ownership, owning your own equity, learning the game. And to be able to do that in my business, it brings me honor, and I think that's the best way to continue his legacy,
So to piggyback off what you were saying, and shout out to you for like educating your community, but I think the best way to kind of continue his legacy is to make sure that if you have a platform, that you're educating your community. So people who do have platforms, making sure that you're doing that. But even if you're not a creative and you don't have a platform, just making sure you're educating yourself. And it doesn't have to be the same things that Nipsey was focused on, just making sure you're educating yourself in general. And as an educator working in the school system, like I can continue to, give kind of the information that is needed for students to kind of like move on in the world and be able to live on that legacy in a sense.
For sure.
Being in the school system, like the grades you're teaching, do any of them, does this Nipsey Hussle thing hit any of them, or do they understand any of that, what's going on?
No, yeah. I'm actually a school counselor. So I get to have deeper conversations on a one-on-one basis with students, and some students were talking to me saying like, Miss, because I'm younger and I'm Black in the school, so they think I know the lingo, which I do. So like, Miss, yo, Nipsey, blah, 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 and we were having conversations about it. But I think our conversations were very surface level. So if I'm going to challenge myself, I can make sure those conversations go deeper and talking about like really educate yourself, take school seriously, like, and just elevate the conversations and making sure I'm including those pieces.
Anybody else?
I kind of feel like we were already doing that. I'm a barbershop owner. And
which we've had conversation every time I sit in the chair. It's therapy time.
Yeah.
So he know all of the shit that be in my head.
And I always take pride in because I'm the first one in my family to own a small business, and New Haven saturated with barbershops. So I kind of like my shop is something. It looks like something that someone else from like a suburb will open up. Mm-hmm. So I took pride in like investing a lot of money into the best stuff, like the best barber pole, the best chairs that's gonna last me 20 years. But it was almost like to give back to and give people like us, like Black, Puerto Rican minorities, a a place so they could call home, you know, like something like that. So we've always preached that, and Nipsey for me was that, and that's what I'm gonna continue to keep pushing. And sometimes people be like, you know, oh, who owns this? And then they look at me and they're like, oh, damn, like he's the owner. And I'm like, yeah. But that's like the Nipsey, you know, and
right.
It, like that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of I would like to continue to open up shops like this to give people better opportunity, better places to work. Because sometimes if you're a barber like myself, you always have to go work at a lesser place. So kind of continue to elevate people and give people like us, like barbers like myself that are coming up, a great environment, and even the community. Like we get a lot of people, a lot of conversations, a lot of like just empowering conversations out loud. We're gonna do a DoMode collective there, so just continue to take advantage my platform on Instagram and. Just, I mean, all week.
Instagram. Put your Instagram out there.
Eddie_TV. It's a whole bunch of haircuts and some.
Fire. It's fire haircuts.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been posting Nipsey Hussle lyrics all week. So
rightfully so. I mean, little do people know, a lot of my captions stem from Nipsey Hussle. I mean, people tend to go with the, you know, whatever's playing or whatever's hot. That's another beauty about Nipsey, is that he was at a level that like I felt like I can enjoy him without it being oversaturated by other people. And I felt like J. Cole was like that for a while, and then after Forest Hill Drives, it was over for that. But yeah, I felt like Nipsey was at that. If he was about to break that cusp, people were about to get to know him because he was Grammy nominated and all that. But I felt like I had him for a while.
I'm pretty stingy when when G Unit was like just bubbling and everyone started. I'm like, yo, fuck out of here, y'all niggas ain't real G Unit fans. But for Nipsey, I was like I was waiting. I was like, yo, I can't wait till the world really sees this man. Like, y'all gonna see what he about and y'all gonna follow suit or y'all gonna fall behind.
I want to talk about. You brought up a point that I had a conversation with the people about, that they feel like rocking with Nipsey before this, don't start posting him and don't try to give him, you know, the adulation that he deserves. And I feel like, for me personally, that's a battle not worth fighting, because why wouldn't you want people to appreciate how legendary someone is, you know?
Yo, this is what it comes down to, bro. Us as minority people don't know how to just love each other wholeheartedly. You feel what I'm saying? So when it first happened and everyone was posting, everyone was with it. Now some people are getting annoyed because they probably didn't really feel it how everyone else felt it.
Right.
But they don't know how to, or like, we probably the only like community that when we have an issue with another one that looks like us, another person that looks like us, before we go to that person directly and say something, we're gonna go blast it on social media and shit like that. You feel me? So I feel like everyone just, the people who you see that's spewing out the negative energy, you just embrace it with love, bro. Because it's just misconstrued. Right. It's not really a big thing. Like, reach out to that person, like, especially if you know them. Like, be like, yo, why you, like, what's up with you? Like, and see what they say, and then break it down to them. I had to break it down to multiple people. Like, yo, I hear your perspective, and I see where you're coming from, but this is the perspective you should be looking at. Like, forget that he was a gangbanger. He was out here. Let's look at what he's doing now. How he changed his whole community into, feel me, like, change their perspective, and then that's what you do.
I mean, a lot of people who come with that type of energy got some healing that they got to go through. For sure. So it's sometimes you can help them, sometimes you can't.
Kind of like what she said about him, like the Matrix, you know, like the simulation, and I feel like
the Matrix, my favorite movie.
Like if people, you have to be in a certain mindset to understand where Nipsey was at home, you know, and I wrote that in a post when he passed. I was like, yo, not a lot of people are gonna stay in your mindset. They will eventually, but I feel like it's like a sense of awareness of reality and of like the bullshit that goes on, that so many other people are so distracted and they're just like, oh, someone else just died, another black dude, you know.
Yeah, we
and like,
desensitized.
And even to myself, because I'm always protecting my brand, and I have like white clients and professional people, and I was like, damn. And for the first time ever, I posted a passing. Because, you know, like you sometimes you don't want to, like, you know, growing up in the hood, you always kind of want to like resemble someone that's not from the hood, right? Because that's how you're accepted, and you're always like, you know, you want to sound more proper, and you want to like make sure all the words are right and stuff. So for the first time ever, I felt like it was okay because I understood it was deeper. It was on the human level, you know. So it's just that, you know, like when people talk shit, is ignorance. I had Felix was talking about that the other day, and JB presented him to me like 3 years ago. You know what I mean? But no lie, I've watched almost every interview or whatever, and one of my barbers, you know, he's just negative. He never talks, but when he talks, he wants to. And he says, "Oh, you just learned about Nipsey 3 years ago. I've known Nipsey 5 years." It's like, I was so mad, and I said it out loud. My bad. I said, "Yo, you ignorant as hell," and I was pissed off. And I said, "Yo, like," I said, I was wild. I said, "Yo, you don't love Nipsey how much I love Nipsey. You don't understand this man, right? You know what I mean?" And I said, "If you did, you would be living differently,
right?" Or you was saying them was some real life shit.
You know what I mean?
Probably went home
and I was that upset.
Reevaluated his whole life.
I was like, because I take music serious, you know, and I feel like Nipsey fans honestly live on a certain like tier, like not tier, but like in a signal, you know,
it's like J. Cole and Jay-Z. If you just live differently, people, you are a certain kind of person.
Yeah,
and just like and Nipsey fits right into that bubble. If you're a fan of Nipsey, like a real fan of Nipsey, I think you're a certain kind of person. Crazy
to me, which was, and I'm in a barbershop with a whole bunch of men that everyone's a professional of everything, right? Everyone knows music and this and that. And I was like, yo, and I slowed down when I was talking. And I was like, this week I was thinking, and I think this dude might go down bigger than Pac and Biggie.
Yeah.
And dudes looked at me like, yo, what? You just said that shit?
You wildin',
and I was like,
bugging.
And before I speak, I analyze. And I was like, yo,
Nipsey
watch.
Fan right there.
I really think he is. Like, he really is. And when you look at, the proof is in the pudding. Like, Pac was good. Biggie was good. But I feel like Pac had Suge Knight. He wasn't a boss. Biggie wasn't a boss. He had Diddy. And these dudes were, like, talking crazy about, like... Just,
and they were rappers.
And it was just different.
They were just rapping.
It was different. I feel like Pac had his poems, and he did I love Pac. I think, you know... Being from the East, I think Pac is kind of better than Biggie. I like to, but just for me, you know, like for who I am as a man, as a person, music how conflicted Pac was as a man, as a person. Sometimes we are, but I feel like Biggie was real ignorant at times when it comes. He had great music, but he had Diddy too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right.
For me, Nipsey is. It sounds crazy to even say because I thought, you know, but for me, he's better. And he will go down as like...
It's not crazy.
For me, there's
a lot of variables as to why.
But I didn't see him when he was alive. That's what's crazy. You know, like I didn't realize it as he was alive.
There's a lot of reasons why that's true. I mean, I think the times helps that.
You agree?
I do agree because I think that the time helped it too. I think the advent of social media, the access, YouTube, things like that, where we're able to digest a lot of the things that they come out with in a different fashion. Like you could binge watch his interviews on YouTube, you know what I mean? Whereas Pac and Biggie didn't have that. So we weren't invested in them in such a way that like you only heard about them or even like invested in them when you read it in a magazine. That was so far and few between when they did the interview or when the album came out. But now with advent of social media, we coming out with content every day. You know, and Nipsey, you could rerun it back. You feeling down, you can play it. We could stream music, so the access is different. But on top of that, he's also a different human being.
For what's available.
Yeah.
If you're a student of the game.
Yeah.
You know, you study like hip hop and you go back, you know, Tupac on YouTube and Tupac is dope as hell. Yeah. And but I still feel like just I go with feelings, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm a big, like anybody that know me, they call me Beyonce, bro. I'm a big Jay-Z fan. Like that's I was at the concert, like wilding out last year. I feel like Nipsey, and it's crazy to say I feel like Nipsey gave me this feeling that no artist has ever given me while listening to him, yo. Like,
I feel crazy, that. And that's the reason.
I feel that.
And that's the reason why we're here.
Like, I swear, yo.
We not even types of, I can't say we. I'm not even the kind of person that puts people on the pedestal so much that I feel obligated to do anything about it when they pass away or something like that, because I feel like we all human. But this shows you how Nipsey is just a different caliber of human being, where I felt like, yo, we got to put this together.
Right.
Yeah,
we talked about this like 2 days ago, and we were like, we got to make something happen.
I don't think anybody knew, like what you were saying, right, with Nipsey, that you didn't appreciate almost when he was live, because you didn't think he would have this much of an impact.
It was there.
Yep.
People knew, bro. I felt that.
What he's talking about was like elevating it to Pac and Big status, right? And I don't think anybody did. And I don't think people saw it during Pac and Big either.
I'm telling you, I did.
I didn't see I can't say I saw Nipsey in the same light as Pac and Big, but until he passed, until Pac and Big passed, I don't think people saw that either. I don't think they saw them as they were these big martyrs.
Assassination always creates that sense of urgency in terms of feelings, because you feel like something's cut short.
I also, not to cut anybody off, I also just feel like the reason why it's hitting us so much harder is because Pac was talking about the things that Nipsey's doing now. Like, Pac was talking about things that he wanted to initiate and he wanted to accomplish, but he was just his life was taking so short. R.I.P. to him and Big as well. You know what I'm saying? But Nips was living proof of the model of what we should do, and we're at the mind frame and the age where we completely understand to take that model and run with it, and now our kids and their kids and their kids are going to be okay.
That's why I think it's timing.
You feel me? Like, so to answer that, Nipsey is definitely, for me, is going to go down as the great because of everything he's done. I mean, it's a tie between him and Jay, because Jay is.
But what I was saying too is, I think that's fair, not realizing it, because I mean, realistically too, Nipsey, like, he been doing stuff, but he really started like turning it up like even just like the last year. So we was just starting to be like if you knew Nip, you only really knew through his music and like interviews, but then it was like, oh damn, you opened a store, oh we did this, boom, that album, and then it was kind of like you could tell he was like finally getting
his groove,
the plugs that he needed to make shit happen. So we was just kind of
watching him on GQ 2 weeks ago. I'm like, okay, that GQ look.
It's not like he's been doing it for 5 years that way. You know what I mean?
He was hitting what was called the tipping point, and once you hit the tipping point, you're able to, all these things, the floodgates are open. And you got to grind until you hit that tipping point, which I suggest to everybody who's doing anything, grind until you hit a tipping point. And if you don't know what the tipping point is, that's a book by Malcolm Gladwell. So check that book out. Nipsey even suggested reading that book. I'm sure he read it. But once you hit that tipping point, that's when shit started rolling, and he hit that tipping point. And again, that's to your earlier question, why you feel sad, is like, he was just getting through that tipping point, and then he was able, like, there was more that was going to come through this wave. But to wrap this up and to answer the question that you posed before about what we could do, what do you think you could do?
Like I said, I'm working on a couple things myself. As someone that created a company based off the culture and the community, I want to focus on giving back, focusing on a couple aspects for the community. So I've been brainstorming with some people, and it's not in the works, but me saying it on here now is I'm gonna have to hold myself accountable. I want to do like a marathon walk, of course. I was looking at some research in a song called Books and Barbers, where we read to the kids inside the barbershop while they get free haircuts. And then I want to have a conversation similar to this, but instead of it just being creatives, I want to be creatives versus like law enforcement, politicians, stuff like that. So we see your side, but you also see our side. You get what I'm saying? And that's the 3 things I want to implement, and I want to. And then any contributions I get, I want to definitely give some of the proceeds to a contribution that he was involved with, like that he personally established himself, just to say I did my part. And then the rest of the contribution I want to take and I want to recycle it and do something else. So after I'm done with these, what else can we do in the environment? Like, do we got to go clean up a park? Do we got to go invest in some books for the kids in the kindergarten? Like shit like that, and just keep figuring out ways to like just doing my part. That's the best I can do.
Word.
What about you?
Like I mentioned earlier, man, I have a business and it's a digital networking platform for introverts and called #DoMode. And I want to just elevate that. I was inspired earlier in the year to do more collectives, and I've done more collectives in the past few months than I've done in the past 2 years. So I've been inspired to just do, man. And I want people to chase their passion. I want to inspire people to do whatever they feel in their heart they want to do and go and chase that thing, because times like this show you that, mortality is knocking on the door on any given day. It could be over. So, this should spark you to be able to go out there and just do what you want to do, because you don't know what your life is going to be like tomorrow, let alone next year, let alone 5 years from now. Life is going to get in the way, and you got to have that sense of urgency today to do what you say you want to do, and to be fearless. So for me, I want to elevate the brand, the DoMode. I want to be able to reach more introverts and let them know that it's their time to be able to not feel chained to staying at home because they don't like big networking places, or they don't feel like they can go and network with people or get the information that they need. Now, there's a variety of ways to get it out here, and you could be a brand without showing your face if you feel so inclined. So I want to grow DoMode. I want to elevate our podcast, which is the Famous The Average podcast, and I feel like from week to week we're able to speak on things like this. You talked about utilizing your platform. That's our way of being able to give advice to entrepreneurs and ambitious individuals while simultaneously being funny and light. We talk about contemporary stuff. So I want to grow that platform. I just want to get it in a multitude of ways to be able to, one, level up mine and my people around me, and then map out a blueprint for other people, because I feel like the spaces that I'm in currently is not one that I know anybody that's doing, or at least not know anybody that looks like me that's doing. And so all the information I'm gathering, all the knowledge that I'm learning, I want to pass along to people so they can do it better than I did it. So that's my version of continuing this marathon. I'm going to keep going to these Yale classes and letting them know that there's people from the inner city that's just as, if not more, smarter than them. I'm going to let people know that, there's ways to get it out here. It don't have to be just sports or entertainment. It could be a variety of ways. So that is my goal. And I'm going to continue to do that, and inspired by Nipsey, and continue to be inspired by it, man.
Word. So I guess as we wrap up, I'll give you my social media handles. The entertainment and lifestyle brand's Instagram is Rejuv Nation, REJUV, and the Nation. Personal account, Timeless Trail. It's all one word, Timeless, and then Trail put together. Boom, boom. Same on Twitter. Man, follow me. I drop a podcast, or I try to drop a podcast every week. Right now, my podcast is actually being delayed because YouTube is wilding, but whatever. We'll talk about that on another episode. And yeah, man, if anybody wants to connect, if you guys were fucking with this and you guys liked what you heard and the conversation, please leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. And JB, I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. I appreciate you linking up and collaborating. And I appreciate everybody being in the building, man. It's good to have these types of conversations. It's good to have a place to vent and talk to people who are kind of like-minded. And yeah, for those out there who want to enjoy more stuff like this, let us know and we'll put it together. If there's demand, we can make it happen.
And we are out.